This is the Night Wolf howling at you, and today we're going to jump into our multiversal portal to take a look at the DC Direct Batgirl. So, actually, why am I going through the multiversal portal? Oh well. This is also part of McFarlane Toys DC Comics line of figures, although it is separated from the DC Multiverse. And this is one of the page punchers, is how it's been listed as, because it comes with a full comic book as well as the figure. And although most of the page punchers do come with like little, I think they're like roughly 2.5 to 3 inches tall figures with limited articulation, this one should have the standard articulation of their 7-inch figure line. And in this case, this is part of their Fight in the Frozen, I think is what it is, series. There's also a Batman, a Robin, and a Mr. Freeze that I've seen. In fact, I never even saw her in stores. I just saw her online when I was looking up Batgirl for the Batman and Robin movie one. Kind of like the same as the Jokerized version. The back of the box is just really boring and just has the comic book, or that might be the back of the comic actually. So we have a basic stand. It's kind of too bad they didn't color it special for this one. She comes with a card. The front of it is the same image that they're using on the front of this comic. And it looks like the comic actually says Fighting the Frozen. And this is an exclusive cover for this toy line. It also says it's number 1, which I had been wondering if these versions of the toys were going to have like the entire comic story, like if it's a full story or if it's just if they're all having the same book. And to me, it kind of looks like they might have the same book, but I would have to buy some of the other figures to find that out. Unless somebody in the comments can say if they all came with the same comic. We'll flip through this here in a minute. But if we look at the back of the card, we see the Page Punchers logo with Batgirl and theorizing absolute zero experimentation would slow the disease afflicting his wife Nora. Mr. Freeze and his beloved birds are accidentally thrust 16,000 years into the past. Seeking to return to their proper century, the frigid fiend attempts to recreate the unintentional circumstances of his time manipulation experiment, carelessly unleashing a deadly new ice age upon the surrounding lands. Robin, a brave young warrior from a neighboring tribe, pleads for the aid from Batman, the noble leader of the Bat Clan. Recognizing the experimental threat to their people, Batman, Robin, and the stoic Batgirl forge an alliance to stop the criminal king of the cold. So, I'm not going to go through this page by page. Well, I'll probably flip through all the pages here, but I won't be posting up the scans and like really going over it like I do with the mini comics. Because this one might be one of those ones where I'd get into a little bit of trouble with copyright. But this one takes place in Gotham City in 1876. So we're already back in the past. So that's different. We see Mr. Freeze's experiment and his wife in the tube, which, with as cold as it is, I'd like to know what liquid she's in that it's not frozen. And there is an explosion, and Mr. Freeze finds himself elsewhere. And luckily, Nora is still with them, and somehow he keeps everything working even though he's been blown into the past. We've got Robin up there looking down on the world. We see that Mr. Freeze is creating the new Ice Age, and we see Robin go to the Batman. We see Batman and Batgirl. Oh, I guess Batgirl would be part of the Bat Clan then, wouldn't she? So she's already there with Robin, or with Batman. They go ahead and they confront Mr. Freeze, who now it looks like his entire house or whatever the building was that he was in came with. And somehow these guys know what machines are. We see Batgirl and Robin start to fight Mr. Freeze, who looks a lot like one of the oh god, what do they call them from BioShock? The were they referred to as Big Brothers? Yeah, I think they were Big Brothers because it was little sisters and I think Big Brothers. And they fight, and it looks like Batman wins, and it says a beginning at the end. And this is apparently just a one-shot story. Which again, they could have expanded it then if they were going to do, have a. They could have done like a 5 or 6 part story with all the different characters. So there's the comic. All right, so we have our Batgirl out of our package now. We got the face sculpt here. It's kind of interesting. I'm wondering if the red spots at the chin and kind of around the cheeks, if that's supposed to just represent her being really cold, or is that supposed to be some kind of tribal makeup thing for the clan, or something else? Although her cowl has really wild stitching, it does even out on both sides. She also has a really long ponytail coming out of the back of it, and we see it stitched up in the back there too. So is this supposed to be pulled on or stitched on? Her cape also has a lot of that stitching, which, okay, so as I've mentioned in previous reviews, I'm not a big fan of rubber capes, though I'm not sure how well this effect could have been done in cloth. I mean, it could be done, but it would probably be expensive. So I guess I can forgive them this time, but it still bothers me that we are still sculpting it in a shape that makes it look like there's supposed to be wind from somewhere. Same with this skirt piece. I don't know, loincloth. If anybody knows what this sort of thing hanging in the front, because Skeletor's got the same thing in Masters of the Universe, but what exactly is it supposed to be? She does have a pouch on the side and then just some more decoration here. She also, besides having her chest wrapped, it looks like probably using bones or some sticks here as a kind of shield over her boobs. And there is a bat logo, which doesn't look too bad. We've got a nice thing of fangs or claws around her neck. Articulation wise, she is really stiff. She does have a ball joint in her head, so we can kind of move it all around and wiggle it. But we also do have the standard spin. Her ponytail doesn't really interfere with it, but it does kind of get in the way a little bit. Ow. We got more fang detail on her arm gauntlets here. The arms itself can move all around. The cape is at least soft enough that it doesn't really interfere with her arm movement. Once we get down here, it still kind of moves out of the way easy enough. Same on the other side. Bicep cut, so we can swivel it around at the bicep. Our loved double jointed elbows. We have a spin and an up and down hinge on the wrist here. Her chest piece is a separate piece from her torso or her abs. There is very little give in it though, but there is a little bit. There's a lot more here at the actual waist though, where we can spin her around quite a bit, turn her sideways. So her belt skirt piece here is a separate piece from her diaper and is glued onto the diaper and goes up above her belly button. Her leg articulation is in fact hindered because the diaper actually goes further down the leg than in most of the figures that I've seen. So we're losing quite a bit of the, I mean, it does bend a little bit, so we can kind of move this up all the way, but it is hindered by that part. So if you're trying to move it without wrecking the diaper, you can only really go out about that far. She can kick forward. Again, we see where the leg is getting caught by the diaper. We still don't have an actual leg swivel, but there is enough give in the leg to at least get a little bit of a bend sideways to it. Not a lot. So we have a double joint in the knee. And this is very painful to hold on to while moving that. We do not have a boot cut. We do have a swivel here at the ankle. We also have a hinge at the ankle. And like with all McFarlane toys, we do have the articulated toes. Equipment wise, she comes with 2 different axes. The axe head should be rock, but it is bone colored. And she has a grappling hook. That to me looks like it's made out of mostly bone. Like, especially when you get up here, it kind of looks like the top of a thigh bone on a human. Is that a femur? I think that's a femur. Or the knee bone part of it, because I guess once you get down here, actually, that looks like where it would connect. This looks like where this would connect inside of the shoulder or hunch of an animal. And then this would be the other end where it attaches to the knee. And then I'm assuming these are like tusks of some sort. Possibly ribs, but I can't imagine that ribs would be able to hold enough weight for somebody to climb it. The important thing is, can she hold it in her hand? The 2 fingers on the top are still kind of positioned like it should be able to hold a trigger, but not quite as bad as some of the previous ones. So she can hold the grappling hook in a hand. But let's be perfectly honest, if she's fighting somebody, oh shit. Her pinky went way out there. I thought it was going to break. It is not easy getting the weapons in her hand. But if we're going to be displaying her, she's going to have both of her axes, I would say. I am still not sure what this is supposed to be, although maybe we can hook our grappling hook into that, and that might cause a little bit of an issue there. I can't get her to balance really well without the stand, so let's grab the stand. Her ankle joints are super ridiculously loose on this figure. So this is one of those things when I talk about how it's good to have two peg holes, because if you put her in peg holes and then put her ankles out a little bit, it'll stand up better. There we go. Ah, there we go. If we do put her one of the little forks from the grappling hook in her pouch thing, whatever decoration, she can hold all of her equipment. This is the way I'm probably going to display her. Although, like I said, I wish there were two peg holes in there so that I could really get a good stable one. Because ankles, they are very, very weak on this figure. Ridiculously so, in my opinion. Overall, not a bad figure. I think she looks pretty good. I like the design of it. Um, and I'm glad I got her. She will be a nice addition to my collection of Batgirl figures, which is kind of expanding a bit. I do have some other figures I can review for the McFarlane line, and I should dig them out and do that because I've got the maskless Michael Keaton Batman from the Flash movie. I've just been kind of holding off on that one. I do have another Batgirl from the one of the video games, the Gotham Knights game, and I have Raven. I did not get to pre-order Starfire because by the time I found out about her, they were sold out because I think that's another one that's sold out ridiculously fast. And if you add to it by looking at the thing, both Starfire and I think actually all three in the wave because it was Starfire, Captain Cold, and Penguin all had alternate versions. Starfire had Blackfire, Penguin had more of an animation, a Super Friends animation color scheme, I think. And I think Captain Cold just had a lighter color scheme compared to the darker one that the main figure came from. And I don't know if it's one of those things where if you bought a whole case, you got the variant, or if the variant is packed in one every few cases kind of a thing. Because I know there are a lot of people who go out looking for the platinum editions, which are always the weird colored ones. Or I think the platinum ones are the ones that are kind of in the metallic silver. And then the gold ones are the ones that are like the color variants. I don't know. The way McFarlane does this just kind of pisses me off. Like, just put the damn figures out. Let's stop with the chase variant crap. Especially when it's so hard, because you can't go into stores and buy most of these figures anymore. You have to get them online. So that's just a bigger problem. Anyway, that's enough of my lecture for McFarlane Toys today. Um, Let me know what you think of the figure. Are you going to buy the other ones? I am disappointed. Like, on the one hand, I am happy that the comic is a full story in one book. At the same time, it disappoints me that they have at least 4 figures in this line, and it's going to be the same book in all of them. It would have been nice if it was like a 4-issue series. Also, just because for one, it makes you want to grab all the figures because now I could care less if I found any of the other or bought any of the other ones. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. If you didn't like this video, I implore you to send it to somebody you hate and make them watch it. Peace and love.